Hey there, it's Joel with 1231 Ministries. Yesterday, I did a little reading from one of my favorite books. It's Waking the Dead by John Eldredge. And I was doing a little reading for two of my friends in Ukraine, Vadek and Katya. And they liked it so much that I thought I would read some more to them today, but I thought I would just share it with everyone else as well. Maybe you'll enjoy listening. Basically, this book is the first chapter is talking about our lives and how we live a life that is not what it seems, that we somehow have awakened and we have found ourselves in the midst of a huge battle that's being waged between good and evil. And we didn't really know that the world was like this, that there is a seen and an unseen world. And so yesterday's reading was sort of prefacing that, and it was talking about three eternal truths. And the first one being that the world is not what it seems. There's more to it than meets the eye, much like some of the great epic stories that we read. John Eldredge is a masterful writer, and I love reading his books. They especially speak to the heart of men, but also to women. And we all long for a big story to be a part of. And maybe this is why it resonates with me. So here we go. I'm going to start with the next section called "A Battle is Underway." But there is another, more urgent quality to every true myth. The second eternal truth brought to us comes like a broken message over the radio or an urgent email from a distant country, telling us that there's some great struggle or quest or battle is underway, may even be hanging in the balance. When the four children stumble into Narnia, the country, and all its lovely creatures are imprisoned under the spell of the White Witch, and have been for 100 years. In another story, Jack and his mother are starving and must sell their only cow. Frodo barely makes it out of the Shire with his life and the Ring of Power. In the nick of time, he learns that Bilbo's magic ring is the One Ring, that Sauron has discovered its whereabouts, and that the 9 Black Riders are already across the border searching for the little hobbit with deadly intent. The future of Middle-earth hangs on a thread. Darth Vader just about has the universe under his evil fist when a pair of droids fall into the hands of Luke Skywalker. Luke has no idea what is unfolding, what great deeds have been done on his behalf, and what will be required of him in the battle to come. Sitting in a sandstone hut with old Ben Kenobi, he does not know that this is the great Jedi warrior, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Luke discovers the secret message from the princess. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Again, this is exactly what scriptures have been trying to wake us up to for years. Wake, O sleeper. Be very careful then how you live, because the days are evil. Ephesians 5:14 through 16. Or, as the message has it, so watch your step, use your head, make the most of every chance you get. These are desperate times. Christianity isn't a religion about going to Sunday school, potluck suppers, being nice, holding car washes, sending our secondhand clothes off to Mexico. As good as those things might be, this is a world at war. Something large and immensely dangerous is unfolding all around us. We're caught up in it. And above all, we doubt we have been given a key role to play. Do you think I'm being too dramatic? Consider the tale told in the book of Daniel, chapter 10. In 605 BC, the notorious Babylonians sacked Jerusalem. Among the hostages taken back to the city of the Hanging Gardens is a young man named Daniel. He becomes a sort of counselor among the royal cabinet, largely because God favors Daniel and reveals a number of mysteries to him that had stumped everyone else on staff. You might remember the famous episode when, in the midst of a state function turned Mardi Gras, King Belshazzar sees the handwriting on the wall, literally. Mene, mene, tekel, parsin. Actually, everyone sees it, but only Daniel can interpret what it means. The Hebrew exile is right again. The king dies that night. The Medes take over. And after a number of additional years in the dangerous world of Middle Eastern politics, Daniel has another troubling vision. Let's pick up the story here. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel, who was called Belteshazzar. Its message was true and concerned a great war. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. At the time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. Daniel 10, 1-3. Something has happened that Daniel doesn't understand. I think we can all relate to that. We don't understand about 90% of what happens to us either. Daniel is troubled. He sets out to get an answer, but 3 weeks of prayer and fasting produce no results. What is he to conclude? If Daniel were like most people, by this point, he'd probably be headed toward one of 2 conclusions. I'm blowing it, or God is holding out on me. He might try confessing every sin and petty offense in hopes of opening up the lines of communication with God, or he might withdraw into a sort of disappointed resignation, drop the fast, and turn on the television. In an effort to hang on to his faith, he might embrace the difficulty as part of God's will for his life, and he might read a book on the silence of God. That's the way people I know handle this sort of thing, and he would be dead wrong. On the 21st day of the fast, an angel shows up, out of breath. In sort of an apology, the angel explains to Daniel that God had actually dispatched him in answer to Daniel's prayer. The very first day he prayed, 3 weeks ago. There goes the whole unanswered prayer thesis right out the window. 3 weeks ago? What is Daniel to do with that? The very first day? But thank you so very much, and I don't want to seem ungrateful, but where have you been? You haven't blown it, Daniel. God isn't holding out on you. The angel goes on to explain that he was locked in hand-to-hand combat with a mighty fallen angel, a demonic power of dreadful strength, who kept him out of the Persian kingdom for 3 weeks. And he finally had to get Michael, the great archangel, captain of the Lord's hosts, to come and help him break through enemy lines. Now I'm here in answer to your prayer. Sorry it's taken so long. There it is, eternal truth number 2. This is a world at war. We live in a far more dramatic, far more dangerous story than we ever imagined. The reason we love the Chronicles of Narnia or Star Wars or The Matrix or The Lord of the Rings is that they are telling us something about our lives that we never, ever get on the evening news or from most pulpits. This is our departure. This is our desperate hour. Without this burning in our hearts, we lose the meaning of our days. It all withers down to fast food and bills and voicemail. And who really cares anyway? Do you see what has happened? The essence of our faith has been stripped away. The very thing that was to give our lives meaning and protect us. This way of seeing has been lost or stolen from us. Notice that those who've tried to wake us up to this reality were usually killed for it. The prophets, Jesus, Stephen, Paul, most of the disciples, in fact. Has it ever occurred to you that someone was trying to shut them up? Things are not what they seem. This is a world at war. Now, for the most stunning news of all, the weight of your glory. Last but not least, not by a long shot, every mythic story shouts to us that in this desperate hour, we have a crucial role to play. That is the third eternal truth. And it happens to be the one we most desperately need if we're ever to understand our days. For most of his life, Neo sees himself only as Thomas Anderson, a computer programmer for a large software corporation. As the drama really begins to heat up and the enemy hunts him down, he says to himself, "This is insane. Why is this happening to me? What did I do? I'm nobody. I didn't do anything." A very dangerous conviction, the one shared by most of you, my readers. What he later comes to realize, and not a moment too soon, is that he is the one who will break the power of the Matrix. Frodo, the little halfling from the Shire, young, naive, in so many ways, the most unlikely person imaginable, is the ring bearer. He too must learn through dangerous paths and fierce battle that a task has been appointed to him. And when he does not find a way, no one will. Dorothy is just a farm girl from Kansas who stumbled into Oz, not because she was looking for adventure, but because someone had hurt feelings and she decided to run away from home. Yet she's the one to bring down the Wicked Witch of the West. Joan of Arc was also a farm girl, illiterate, the youngest of her family when she received her first vision from God. Just about everyone doubted her. The commander of the French army said she should be taken home and given a good whipping. Yet she ends up leading the armies to war. You see this throughout Scripture. A little boy will slay the giant. A loud-mouthed fisherman who can't hold down a job will lead the church. A whore with a golden heart is the one to perform the deed that Jesus asks all to tell wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world. Mark 14:9. Things are not what they seem. We are not what we seem. Of all the eternal truths we don't believe, this is the one we doubt most of all. Our days are not extraordinary. They're filled with the mundane, with hassles mostly. And we are a dime a dozen. Nothing special, really. Probably a disappointment to God. But as C.S. Lewis wrote, the value of myth is that it takes all the things we know and restores them to the rich significance which has been hidden by the evil or by the veil of familiarity. You are not what you think you are. There is a glory to your life that your enemy fears. And he's hell-bent on destroying that glory before you act on it. This part of the answer will sound unbelievable at first. Perhaps it will sound too good to be true. Certainly, you will wonder if it is true for you. But once you begin to see with those eyes, once you've begun to know it is true from the bottom of your heart, it will change everything. The story of your life is the story of the long and brutal assault on your heart by the one who knows what you could be and fears it. Seeing clearly. Do you think I'm trying to weave a spell? Perhaps I am. But remember your fairy tales. Spells are used for breaking enchantments as well as for inducing them. And you and I have need of the strongest spell that can be found to wake us up from the evil enchantment of worldliness, which has been laid upon us for nearly 100 years. C.S. Lewis, The Weight of Glory. Lewis is not being cute. He is as sober as a man can be. That evil enchantment of worldliness is the way of looking at life given to us by the Enlightenment, the age of reason, the modern era. Science as our interpreter, the Matrix. We all deeply drank from that cup, the church included, and now the whole kingdom lies under a spell, like Narnia in winter, like the sleeping kingdom in Sleeping Beauty, or as the Bible has it, the whole world lies under the power of the evil one. 1 John 5:19. We've never stopped to think about it. How? How does the whole world lie under the power of the evil one? They don't see it. They're in a fog, under a spell. Their hearts are shrouded. 2 Corinthians 3:15 and 4, chapter 4, 3 through 6. Oh God, take this shroud away. You will not think clearly about your life until you think mythically, until you see with the eyes of your heart. About halfway through their journey, following a great deal of hardship and facing a good deal more, Frodo's devoted friend and servant, Sam Gamgee, wonders out loud, I wonder what sort of tale we've fallen into. Sam is at the moment thinking mythically. He's wondering in the right way. His question assumes that there is a story. There is something larger going on. He also assumes that they have somehow tumbled into it, been swept up into it. This is exactly what we've lost. Things happen to you. The car breaks down. You have a fight with your spouse, or you suddenly figure out how to fix a problem at work. What is really happening? David White says that we live our lives under a pale sky, the lost sense that we play out our lives as part of a greater story. What sort of tale have I fallen into? Is a question that would help us all a great deal if we wondered it for ourselves. After my friend Julie saw The Fellowship of the Ring, she turned to the girl with her and whispered, "We've just gotten a clear view of reality. a clearer view of reality than we usually see. Yes, that's the kind of seeing we need. That is our reality. What grabbed me was the theatrical trailer for the film. In a brilliantly crafted 3-minute summary, the preview captures the essential mythic elements of the story as scene after scene races before the eyes of the viewer, and Gandalf describes the tale. These lines cross the screen. Fate has chosen him. A fellowship will protect him. Evil will hunt him. Yes, that's it. That is the life Christianity is trying to explain to the world. Better, that is the reality into which Christianity is the door. If we could believe that about ourselves and about our lives and come to know that is true, everything would change. We would be so much more able to interpret the events unfolding around us, against us. We would discover the task that is ours alone to fulfill. We would find our courage. The hour is late, and you are needed. So much hangs in the balance. Where is your heart? So that's it for today. And tomorrow I'll pick up with chapter 3, and I'll give you some more. Hope you have a great day.